Alright, I've been running my AI agency for the past 3 years now, and we build automations, AI agents, full client systems, and recently we've improved our efficiency and what we can handle with Claude Code. And I'm sure the majority of you watching this video have seen Claude Code everywhere. You've seen people build big systems, build cool tools and whatever, but you're probably wondering, how can I use this to actually deploy projects for clients? Now, over my time of using Claude Code, we've deployed some big projects, some projects for smaller companies, but we've done it all, and I've been through a lot of Claude Code and I've spent hundreds of hours. And in this video, I'm going to give you the 5 skills that I've used most in Claude Code. Now, skills are not just something small or something that's nice to have. They truly are what separates Claude from giving you amateur outputs to something that you can deploy live for hundreds of employees or for hundreds of users. Before I get into the 5 skills that I use, we need to understand what skills really are. And from a broad view, they're really just instruction files like SOPs or standard operating procedures for an AI agent to follow. So you install them once and they change how Claude Code approaches a specific task. Now, without these skills, Claude is going to improvise and the results that it gives you will vary. So for example, we say to Claude Code, hey, can you build me a website for a car dealership? If we do that without a skill, Claude is going to improvise, results are going to vary, and you're going to get that AI slop that you've probably seen hundreds of times, where you can just tell immediately it was done by AI. Now, when we have a skill, Claude is going to vary, it's going to think creatively, it's going to follow the best practices because we've given it specific instructions on what we want it to do. Now, you don't have to actually have them instructions because there's thousands, I think over 60,000 skills now on the skills marketplace that you can just download and plug into your Claude workspace. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Alright, the first skill we have over here is the Superpowers skill. Now, this isn't really a skill, but I'm going to call it a skill just so I don't confuse you. What it really is a plugin. Now, a plugin is just a group of skills. So if we have one skill, that's a skill. But if we have like 5 skills that we can download all at once, then that would be called a plugin. So a plugin is just a group of skills, and Superpowers is like a group of skills. So I'm just going to call it a skill for this video, but know that it really is a plugin. Now, this Superpower skill tells Claude Code the entire development process, how to act and how to do it from best practices. Now, if you don't have this Superpower skill, you probably see Claude do this a lot of the time. It just jumps straight into the code as soon as you give it any form of instruction. It doesn't plan, and then you end up rebuilding that 2, 3, even 4 times, which equals delays. Now, after we download Superpowers, it gives Claude Code a range of different skills that's going to stop it from doing that. It gives it planning skills, brainstorming skills, design skills, a bunch of different things in which Claude is going to ask you questions. It's going to map out the solutions. It's going to ask you to sign off, and then it's going to build it once correctly. Now, why does this matter to anybody, or why does this matter to you? It's because it stops you wasting rebuilds. It stops you obviously wasting tokens also. And every project should start with a Superpower brainstorm skill. Now, to get that skill, you can see we have this right here, in which we can just copy this. I'm going to leave all of the links to all of the skills below, so you'll be able to grab them in the second link. Now, to get a skill, we can come over here to a place called skills.sh, and this has, as you can see in here, over 91,000 skills. Now, not every skill you're going to want to download. You can see here, these skills have like 700 installs, some of them over 100,000, 80,000. All of these should be relatively safe skills, but when you get down to the bottom of this, you might see skills with maybe 200 downloads, 10 downloads, and they're skills you want to really look into before you download them, because if you download a skill, there may be a chance that there's malware in that skill. So I typically stick to the skills that have a high number of downloads, or if I'm going to go down to one of them skills, I make sure I take a look at them. And if you don't know how to code, it's probably best you just stay with the skills that have the higher amount of downloads. Now, in here is where we can get a bunch of skills, but with the skill that we're looking for, because it's such a well-known skill, the Superpower skill, it's already on Claude Code, in which we can download. Now, I use Claude Code over here on a place called Anti-Gravity, and you can see here I have a blank folder right here. If I come over here, if I come over here to extensions, I look up Claude Code, I can then download it. As you can see, I have it installed. I'm going to hit this here, and then we have Claude Code open. Now, if I want to use a skill, I can come down here to the // and now in here we can look up manage plugins, and when I click this, you can see Claude Code is going to pop up all of the plugins that I have enabled. Now, if we want to get a plugin, you can see we already have this available in the marketplace. So we have a bunch of skills here, like Code Simplifier, we have GitHub, we have a bunch of different skills. You can read through these, but the one we're looking for is the Superpower skills. So to get that skill over here, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to look up Superpowers. And when we look up Superpowers, you can see we have the entire Superpower skill here. And you can see this one here, it's by Oprah, and this is the one that we want. So what we're going to do here is we're going to press install on this, and this is what we're looking for. We're looking for Superpowers Claude Plugins Official, and this is basically just going to download all of Oprah's Superpower skill, and it's going to give you a range of different things in which you can use. Now, if we want to look into a skill, we can come over here and we can just look up Superpowers skill and just find the GitHub repo. So you can see here right away we get Oprah Superpowers. If I click in here, we'll be able to see exactly everything that it has. Now, this skill tells us down here, Superpowers is a complete software development workflow for your coding agents built on top of a set of composable skills and some initial instructions to make sure your agent uses them. How it works is it starts from the moment you fire up your coding agent. As soon as it sees you're building something, it doesn't just jump into trying to write code. Instead, it takes a step back and asks you what you're really trying to do. Now, if we scroll down here a little bit, we can see some of the skills that it has. So we have a brainstorming skill which activates before writing code, and this refines rough ideas through questions. So for you, for example, if you say, hey, I want to build an AI agent for emails, if you sent that over without the Superpower skill, Claude Code will just start building it, even though it has no real idea what you want. If we send it over with the Superpower skill, then it's going to start asking us questions about what we actually want, and it's going to prompt you for more information so it knows exactly what you actually want it to build. We have other skills like here, like writing plans, all of this in which it will automatically use after you download it. So now when I come in here and I say to Claude Code, after we've downloaded the Superpower skill, I can say, hey, I want to build an AI agent for emails. I want it to handle my emails and make sure nobody goes unanswered. When I send this off, now because we have the Superpower skill, it's going to trigger that skill to the brainstorming. You can see right here, Superpower's brainstorming skill. It's now going to brainstorm exactly what I want, and then it's going to start asking me a couple of questions. So you can see now after it triggers the tool, it now comes up with a list of things it needs to do. So firstly, it's going to explore the project context. So anything we have over here on the left hand side, it's going to explore what we've already built. We haven't built anything yet, so it's going to detect that this is a first build for this repo. First question, what email providers do you use? Gmail, Outlook, Apple Mail, or something else? This determines what APIs we'll build on. I'll say Gmail. Then ask me, when you say make sure nobody goes unanswered, what should the agent actually do with incoming emails? Draft a reply for you to review and send yourself. Send replies automatically without your review. And mix something else. Let's say just draft. Next question, who sends you emails that need replies? Let's say clients. And then it says, how should the agent know who to reply to? Let's just say everybody. Okay, so after it asked me some questions, it's now going to use the brainstorming skill to propose 2 to 3 approaches with trade-offs, as you can see right here. So it says, here are 3 approaches. We have option A, which is a local polling server. It says that's my recommendation. So whenever this Superpower skill says that's my recommendation, you should probably go with that one unless it's completely against what you actually want. The other 2 are typically just alternatives, and sometimes they just give you them for the sake of giving you alternatives. They may not be actually good whatsoever, and may not be viable at all. So typically I'll go with whatever it recommends once it follows the structure and the actual idea that we want. It gives us the 3 options, and then it says I recommend A, it's the right balance, easy to build, easy to customize, and 60-second polling is fast enough to feel instant in practice. Okay, go ahead with A, and what it's now going to do is present a design doc sections for approval. You can see down here it says it's going to write the design doc using Superpower specs, does all of the work. So you can see just the power of Superpowers. Now there's a bunch of other things that it has. So you can see we used the brainstorming. It was just about to use the writing plans to tell us what the implementation was. We have executing plans, so when it's actually writing the code. And we have a bunch of other things that you can look through here that Superpowers is going to do on behalf of you. So you don't actually have to know how to use it. You just have to download it, and your outputs and your coding or whatever you're building is going to be much better. The second skill I'd recommend is the front end design skill. Now, like I mentioned at the start of this, AI is not good at design. We've all seen the websites that look AI generated the moment you click onto the website. This front end design skill is going to stop that. Now, before you download this, you're going to get them generic gray boxes, the default font that Claude Code always uses, and it looks like every other AI app. Now, after front end design, it's going to use a bold aesthetic, it's going to use real typography, different color systems, and it's going to make it feel like a premium product. Now, if we want to get this front end design skill, we can come over here to skills.sh, and we can just very quickly come in here and look up front end. And you can see we have this front end design skill, which is by Anthropic, and we can just click in here and we can see exactly what this skill does. Now, over here in this front end design skill, you can see in the skill MD here, which is just the description of what this skill does. This skill guides creation of distinctive production grade front end interfaces to avoid generic AI slop aesthetics. That should really be enough as to why we should download this. We want to prevent that in nearly all cases. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to bring it over here, and I can simply just say to Claude, can you download this skill? Paste the skill in here and go like this. Now Claude should be able to directly download this skill just from giving it that. It's asking us for permission to run that command. We can press yes, allow. Now, after we've asked it to download that skill, you can see we have a .claude file here, where if we come in here, we now have that skill, which is the front end design skill. That would be skill number 2. And the third skill I would download is React best practices. Now, when Claude starts to build your projects or anything you're building in general, it usually uses React. Now, you don't again have to understand anything about React or the language or the style of code that it uses, but without this React best practices, if you're building a production ready app or automation for a client, it will work, but it will break under load without having React best practices. And Claude Code isn't the best using best practices. Claude Code just wants to get to the destination as fast and as easy as possible. And along that way, sometimes it uses stuff that's not within best practices. Now, after we give it access to this code, it uses the skill to enforce the best practices automatically to make sure whatever you give to your client is fast, stable, and production ready from day one. Now, to get that skill, we come back over here to skills.sh, and we can look up here Vercel best practices, and you can see the first skill we have right here is Vercel best practices. And we can just come in here and do the same thing that we just done by come down here and saying to Claude, download this skill to this project. We send that off. It should now have a second skill MD here, which is going to be for React best practices. This is one you don't have to understand if you don't know how to code. Just know it's better if you have this in. And you can see now, we now have the front end design skill. We also have the Vercel best practices. And if we click in here, you can see it gives us 40 of the best practices that Claude should follow automatically. The fourth skill I would use is agent browser skill. Now, Claude can describe web actions to you. After the agent browser skill, Claude Code can now control your browser. It can now fill out forms, like if you've built a website for a client and you want to test if the form is working, if the lead capture section is working. After we give it the agent browser skill, it's able to do that automatically, so you don't have to go to the form and fill everything out. Now, to get that skill again, we're going to come over here to skills.sh, and we're going to come in here and we're going to look up agent browser, and this is the Vercel Labs agent browser skill that we're going to want to use. And like I mentioned earlier, this has 142,000 downloads or installs, so it's probably okay and safe to download. But if we come down here, you can see some of these skills have like 4, 8, 6, and these are probably the ones that you want to stay away from. So we can download this, do the same thing, come over here. And when we download that skill, let's say we've built a website and we want to ask Claude to make sure all of the forms, the poking links are working, we can just tell it to go and do that. Whereas without the skill, we would have to go and do that ourselves. And the last and final skill is the simplify skill. And this is probably one of the most important ones after the Superpowers skill. And the reason why is because before you implement the simplify skill, Claude Code works in a bloated environment. So it's going to keep a lot of dead code. It's going to make complex logic, and it's hard to hand off any of that code to a client's team or even to one of your developers, because Claude Code will have this sea of code that is extremely hard to understand, and it's not scalable, it's not readable, and in the future it's going to be more expensive for you to debug it or even to hand it off to bring on employees to handle it. It's just a mess when you leave it to Claude Code to do whatever it wants, because what Claude will typically do is it will write 1,000 lines of code for something that may or could be done with just 100 lines, and that's exactly what this simplify skill is going to do. It's going to automatically clean up all of the code, make sure it's readable, make sure it's lean code, so we're not writing 1,000 lines for something that could be done in 100, and it's going to make it easier for you and your devs in the future, but also for your client as well. Now, to get that skill, we're going to come back over to the same place that we were on before. We're going to look up simplify, and you can see we have the first one right here, which is by Brain Loving. We're going to again come in here, copy this, bring it over to Claude and drop it in. Now you can see in here this skill says you're an expert code simplification specialist focused on enhancing code clarity, consistency and maintainability while preserving exact functionality. Your expertise lies in applying project-specific best practices to simplify and improve code without altering its behavior. You prioritize readable, explicit code over overly compact solutions. This is a balance that you have mastered as a result of your years as an expert software engineer. So again, just going to simplify the code so you're able to manage it in the future. And they are all of the main skills that I use in virtually every project that we do, and I would advise you to download them yourself. I'll leave them all below in the second link in the description.